Hi, I'm Teresa. I'm a theater artist living and working here in the Twin Cities. So I'm a performer, a director, I do costume design, and I'm also a teaching artist. Yeah, I started driving for Lyft the beginning of June, and so I received this opportunity in London that I wanted to go do a theater training program, and I applied for a grant to go do it, didn't get the grant, and I kind of thought to myself, okay, so what am I going to do, just not do this? And then someone said, well, you could drive for Lyft or Uber. And so I looked into that and I thought, I'm going to do this. And so I've been driving all summer and I was able to save all the money that I needed to go and do this thing in London. Yeah, the other night actually was the last night of the state, or it was the night before the last night of the state fair. It was Sunday night. I drove the woman who manages the B-52s and Culture Club and the Thompson Twins, which were all playing the last night at the fair, and a number of other people that she did not disclose to me, but it was a longer ride. It was about 45 minutes, so we talked about the music business for 45 minutes, which was really interesting. She had a lot of really interesting stories, and yeah. Couple of things. So I would say so I had this goal this whole summer of earning all this money. So I was working on top of my regular full-time teaching job and also a costume design job I had. I was also driving for Lyft as many hours as I could manage. So that was a lot, but that was my own kind of personal thing that I was doing. But on some of the longer shifts that I had, it could be really hard to just sit in the car in this little confined space for a period of time. And so I think working in, taking short breaks, just because physically it can be hard to sit in that position for a long time. Or sometimes if I was working at night and driving someone home to an outer lying suburb where there's less street lights and just activity going on, it can be difficult when the streets are darker and you're tired because you're at the end of a shift and you've been driving for a long time to just feel awake enough. And that can be kind of scary. So, I had to roll down my windows or turn on music and then go home at that point because it is just not worth the risk of being on the road that long. But aside from that, I would say that probably the most difficult thing as a woman driver is that there are a number of male riders out there who seem to have a confusion about what the service is, and there's been a number of occasions where there was boundaries crossed in terms of things that were said. And that can be very uncomfortable. You can always rate them very low, and in some cases Lyft did follow up with me and wanted to talk about the experience. I think in a few cases where I said some specific details, and then I think those riders can be banned from the app if that happens. But I think that can be discouraging for women to be drivers in that way, or they worry about driving at night, and a lot of times that's when the higher rates are offered for drivers. So that's a tough call to make, right? But I think if you can be assertive, there's always a way to manage it, and I don't want to discourage women from doing it, because I think part of what creates this situation in the first place is that there are so few women drivers, and then we become this novelty, or so that can be weird. And there's a certain amount of security that you do have. I feel comfortable in that the app does have the person's identity and information, so if anything were to happen, it would be pretty easily traced. So the tip I can offer is that know that, and then know that's probably discouraging for some people to actually go through with any scary thing that might happen. The other thing is that the fact that you are sort of in control because you're the one driving the car. So nothing can happen to you because you are in control of the car in that way. Yeah. I've had a number of people that just handed me $20 as they were getting out. I don't think I've had any tips larger than that. Yeah, but I've had a number of people hand me $20. I've had this story to be able to tell people all summer about this like goal that I have of going to London. So everybody, people have been tipping generously on that. So yeah.
Well played.
Yeah. $266. It was a Saturday. It might have been a Friday. I'm not sure. I think I maybe got like the rush hours and then I stayed out the whole time until bar closed. So, I did have to put in the hours for that. I think it was a longer shift, like 8 or 10 hours, but yeah. When I first signed up, I signed up for both because I signed up for both Lyft and Uber because everyone told me you should drive for both because then when one is slow, you can switch to the other. And I tried that one day, but my experience was that, well, when one is slow, they're both slow. It just means nobody's requesting right now. There's a few things that I feel better about with Lyft. So I actually have never driven for Uber. Maybe I would have a fine experience, I don't know. But I heard a lot of rumors about they take a percentage of your tips. And fundamentally, I disagree with that. And then, I know they have a different CEO now, but there were a number of things in the media about the former CEO that I have some huge issues with. And also when the immigration ban happened at the JFK airport and all of the New York City taxi drivers like unilaterally were like, we're not going to drive to the airport until there's people that are allowed to leave. And I think Uber broke that boycott. And again, that was under the former CEO, but I still it left a bad taste in my mouth. So I feel really good about Lyft as a company and prefer to drive for them. I don't know. I'm probably making them. I don't know. There's a few things that I didn't really, because you just sign up and it's not like there's real training. There's just like a few videos to watch. So you just go out there and you don't really know what are the best ways to do things. There's a number of like Facebook groups you can join where I just started asking other drivers questions about what do you do about this or this or that. I think there was an option when I first signed up to not accept drives that are over 10 minutes away. And I didn't choose that. And now I can't figure out how to change it back. And I've emailed them and I don't get a response. So, I would say don't accept drives over 10 minutes if you haven't yet signed up. Because they can send you people that are like 25 minutes away or something. And it's like, if you're already in an outer lying suburb and then you ping a ride that's 25 minutes from there, even further out, suddenly you're in Hudson, Wisconsin. And you're like, why am I in Wisconsin right now? So, yeah. I waited tables for 15 years before I finally got out of the service industry, although now this is a service industry job. But I would say the way I did really well in that industry applies to this industry. So it's being able to read people and matching what type of service do they want. If somebody doesn't want to talk, you can get that as, you can read that off of them. They're looking at their phone or they're giving you short answers. Okay, so they don't want to be bothered. Or maybe somebody's really talkative and, so it's kind of like providing them with the type of ride that they want to have. And, I've done 740 rides and have maintained a 5-star rating the whole time. And I think it's just from, being able to give people what they, the kind of like social experience that they want to have. So.